if electricity was the revolution of 20th century, internet is a revolution of 21st century, then artificial intelligence is basically the revolution of the last decade. I don't know how much of you really understand. I know it's not a very good thing what I'm going to speak about. The war is not a good thing or anything which is happening in the world today. But today we are not fighting for the natural resources. It's not about oil, gas, fertilizers or something else. Yes, there is a fight. But the biggest fight which is happening in the domain of semiconductors. We call them chip. So there's a chip war which is ongoing now. Data is the new oil. And if you understand what I'm talking about, if you have some time, do go and look for this book by Chris Miller called Chip War, or you can Google, browse. You'll understand what is really happening in this world today and why countries like maybe India, Russia are struggling, and China per se is also struggling today because of technology. There's something called Chip 4 Alliance. There's something called CHIPS Act. I would encourage all of you to just look into these terms in Google. You do Google a lot, but just understand where exactly is the world headed now. Now, as far as India and Russia is concerned, we are all-weather friends. Since India's independence in 1947, it's 77 years of strategic relationship with Soviet Union and now Russia. Now, you will also know that Russia is the fastest growing economy in Europe today, strangely, and India is the largest growing, or the fastest growing economy in the world. You have the natural resources which are the largest, and we have the largest human resources. India has the largest population on the planet now. We surpassed China last year. I don't know how many of you know, but 25% of India's population is under 20 years of age. So we call it a demographic dividend. And almost 65% of the population is under 60 years of age. So we are the youngest population per se in the world as I speak to you, which gives India a lot of assets today. Another thing which is happening or has been happening in Russia is made in Russia. We always listen about made in Russia, things which has to come here, import substitution. In India, it's always about make in India now. And this is exactly what I'm going to talk about in the next 2 minutes now, okay? So be very careful. If you want to do business in India, I think you should understand what is happening. India is a land of extreme contrast. There's a lot of stereotypes about India, and all of them are true. I don't know if you know that in India, there are a lot of poor people, and there are a lot of very, very rich people now. In India, there are places which are desert. There is no rain. And there's Chirapunji where it rains every day. In India, people are vegetarian and people are non-vegetarian. And people are black in color, they are dark in color, and people are very white in color. So it's a very contrast. It's a civilization, but it's a country of contrast. For Russians, India could be an end destination of your products and services as a market. In G2G, it's already there. I'm talking about B2B and B2G. But at the same time, it could be the bridge to the rest of the world. When I say rest of the world, it means the rest of the democratic, developed world. So India could be bridge, a potential for you. If you go and work in India, nobody talks about 2 years, 3 years. I don't know why it is so, but we always talk about 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. So you have to understand you have to be patient in India. Everybody talks about long duration of time when the businesses are going to be successful. That's how it always has been. We have a pain point in India. We don't have anything which is, I wouldn't say anything, we don't have much which we can claim as India made or make in India. And when I talk about IT, you have to understand, I talk about the chips, it's about microelectronics. So there's no software that is sitting alone. AI is not about software, it's also about AI chips. It's also about what is happening in the hardware side of it. So India is aggressively trying to give a lot of opportunities opening up from the government of India in the chip space. And a lot of countries in the world, including Russia, have been investing heavily into that. Government of India has given an opportunity of $25 billion in the last 2 years, only in this particular segment. So my own suggestion, and I've got the last slide, is that if you want to do something in India, try to do in this space. There are different routes. It's the technology know-how, transfer of technology route. Government of India is giving something called design-linked incentives, production-linked incentives. And the one good thing that can happen between Russia and India is that both of us are sitting on open architectures. There's something called Elbrus. I don't know if anybody in this Zal knows about Elbrus architecture, but Russia has got significant open source technologies, open source architecture. This is something what India is needing today and something where we can work together. And to enter India, you need to have both the market and the non-market strategy, which means you have to work into B2G.